Greetings all. Here is a short video about how to use Mac OS X services to code more efficiently. So first example is custom signature. Let's say I'm writing a calculation and my calculation is going to include a let function. So if I type in let and I take the default signature, this is what I am given. I would like to have a custom signature because it's easier. And so what I do using a Mac OS X service, I highlight exactly what I was given and I right click on it. I drag down to where it says services, the services menu, and I look for replace selection with let function. And this is more readable, at least to me. A couple things to take note. I'm defining let variables with tilde. That's a convention that I like for multiple reasons. One, I like the readability. I like the visual distinction of a tilde. And there's another reason which I'll show you in just 1 second. The other thing that I'm doing, it's when I'm declaring, this variable, let variable equals something, I'm purposely using a single dollar sign. Now I'm doing that temporarily just so that this calculation can compile, because I might want to exit that modal, that's modal dialog and go and copy and paste a variable or maybe a field path, and that's why I use a dollar sign. By the time I'm done, all the dollar signs are going to be done, because it would be bad coding practice most of the time to have dollar signs in the let, unless it was intentional for some purpose. Another topic for another day. So, okay, so there I have a nice signature. The other reason I like tildes is because I want to be able to debug a let calculation. Now, a lot of my let calculations are going to be very much step by step. Declare variable 1, declare variable 2, variable 3, variable 4. Often, building step by step, where whatever I declare in variable 1 is the input to variable 2. I call it, like a football analogy, 3 yards and a cloud of dust. And if it's like a 6-step or multi-step process, I might have made a mistake somewhere along. So how am I going to find out where I went wrong? I can highlight the calculation. I right-click again, and then I use Mac OS X services, which right here says substitute tilde to double dollar sign. Pretty straightforward name. Does what you might expect. Once again, compiles. Then, because I'm declaring double dollar sign, all I have to do, if I call this calculation, let's say in a script, it will instantiate whatever you want to call it. The double dollar signs, excuse me, will show up in the data viewer. And then I'll be like, oh, I see where I made my mistake. I fixed the mistake. I get it working. I go back to the calculation. I highlight it, and I do the inverse. I do a Mac OS X service that is the inverse. Double dollar signs back to tilde. And this is what I can put into production, because I wouldn't, I don't want double dollar signs in the production version. So that's the debugging workflow. Okay, so we saw actually 3 Mac OS X services. So let's have a look at them. Here's one. Let's see, which one is this? Okay, this is the custom signature. And you don't have to completely understand how this works. Once it works, or at least from my point of view, I got this working and I was like, great, that works. I'm happy. That said, let's look through it top to bottom. First thing, service receives text in any application that supports it, and FileMaker calculation does support it. Gotta be sure to click this checkbox that the output replaces the selected text. So, my output was my custom signature, and the selected text was the, default function that comes from Claris. The AppleScript construct, besides the comments, 3 lines of comments, very nice. This is an on-run handler, and it calls a handler. It's like a subroutine, and this name matches that name. Now, okay, phone's ringing. Hold on. Hello? That was a spam. Okay, so I think this was the curly bracket. I believe that is the selection. It functions that way. This line here, set input to, this is called a subroutine. Here's the input, which I believe is being passed from here to here. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I tried naming this output, return output, and it didn't work. Probably should work, but I just went with input, which looks a little silly. I might try it again with calling this output, and that's just return, from running this, return that. When we call this, we're calling this function passing in the input, which is the selection, and this is very straightforward. It's text out, return text out, and anyway it works. And you don't have to understand it, because if you wanted to set this up, for example, perhaps to maybe I want a custom signature for the substitute, the one that does multiple, and even though the macOS services have an extension of .workflow, I want to click that because that's what works. And then text application. This is I would just follow the pattern that works. Here's the steps that you could put into a workflow, a macOS service in this case. So I'm just copying and pasting. I'm going to compile, and then I would just replace selection with substitute. Change the name here, change the name here. I might try changing this output, but that should just work, and that's it. And then I guess one tip I would say, when you save it, try and get the name right. It doesn't seem to like it if you rename things, but if you get the name right at the time you save the file, it seems to work great. Okay, so that's something, homework. Now the other thing that maybe the third thing of many that I find kind of using the most. So we did the custom signature. We did the debugging. Another thing in FileMaker that I find myself doing quite a bit, I have text in the calculation, and I want it to be gray or bold. In this case, it's gray. Pretty much the same concept. In this case, it's a little bit different than what we did before. So instead of replacing 100%, we're actually maintaining the text in. So we're getting the input, passing it in. It's a text in, so that declares text in, so I can use that. And then the text out, I'm kind of wrapping the pre-existing text. Let's see an example. Okay, here's the before and the after. Let's see it again. There's a block of text, and this is gray. Okay, how did that happen? I'm going to keep the black, and then here's a button bar, vanilla text, and I'm going to highlight it. And then once again, macOS services, and I'm working with text. It could be a Finder thing, could be a folder as input. You could be splitting a PDF. There's a lot you could do. I'm just going to demonstrate one more thing. Oh, and the things that show up as choices depend on the type of object that you select. If I select text, it'll give me things. If I selected a PDF file, it would say, oh, do you want to split this into individual pages? So it's contextual. Okay, so what are we doing? We're going to go gray. Ta-da. Okay, so that is wonderful. And it's basically maintained the text, including the quotes, and it wrapped it with a function, and the color is actually defined by a function. And then the comment gray 8 is in case somebody doesn't know what RGB 119, 119, 119 does. And we call it gray number 8. And first, let's see, is it going to turn gray? Spoiler alert, of course. And then, okay, gray number 8. Gray number 8. So that's here. So we did this actually a while ago, quite a while ago. Back in the day, from FileMaker 7 to 11, this was the color palette. FileMaker 12 is different. I actually like this color palette. By the way, not everyone agrees on color. I like this color palette because these colors are kind of very pure. And I was able to name them red, orange, and so forth and so on. And built this with FileMaker, by the way, obviously. And so you've got the RGB values, and here's the gray number 8. The hexadecimal values, very nice because sometimes all you have to type in is 3 characters because of they're kind of, I don't know, in that pattern. And then the name is gray number 8. That looks like a gray number 8. Okay, so that is the video about how to use Mac OS X services to automate a number of pretty popular FileMaker developer tasks. So try it at home. Okay, happy FileMakering.